Uh, Good afternoon. It's me, Bosley, UBK Bosley. It's not my name, that's the video channel which you've already accessed, otherwise you'll be watching this. Hello, hope you're well. Before I rant, no, not rant, outline some of the things I want to outline. I'm doing this is for personal reasons. I do have support elsewhere, but it needs to if you understand what this has cost for me, you'd understand why people with potentially more to lose and in more ostentatious positions would not want to, at this stage or any stage of this sort of thing, jeopardise what they have. Perfectly understandable. I wish I hadn't, but I hadn't had the choice. I didn't have the choice. Okay, so let's assume first of all, as I'm going to refer to the police in this case. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give you some facts which are not pleasant, but they're true. And first and foremost, I've been painted by certainly Devon and Cornwall Police with the help of Avon, Somerset, and Hampshire Police. I've moved about a lot, not because of my criminality and because I ran out of banks to rob, but because the last couple of moves were with somebody front and centre or close to me that was potentially, if not working, to assist me with any of the numerous problems that there were a few that were down to me, possibly in the I live next to a train. They go past one in each direction once an hour, and that's how long they last. It's not an issue for me. It's not invasive, and I expect it, and I know it's going to happen, and then it finishes, and then there'll be another train past within the next minute or so in the other direction. Right, the police. Right. So, firstly, I have been punished for everything I've been accused of, and more. I've said that in another video, and I have. I have. Um, there are times when I have to say that looking back, I didn't act appropriately. But then again, these things were always precipitated by a period where I did everything I possibly could. In the case of one neighbour, to please stop letting your dog shit in the garden, fix your fence. I had a garden much smaller than this, but it was still beautiful for me, with a sort of gym type shed thing, so I could pretend to know how to fix things, and a bag so I could pretend I was Rocky Marciano, and then a little bit of green stuff, a greenhouse for pretending to know how to grow vegetables, and a seating area just to sit in the garden at the times when we had people over, which we did quite a bit during the charade of our marriage and relationship. Anyway, so I had a lot of rows with the neighbours there. Jesus Christ. The fireman I got on with, good lad he was. He was not lived two doors away. Brian and Carol, the neighbours immediately next door, they were lovely, wonderful people. Brian was not particularly well. He was in quite frail health. Carol, Scouse girl, wonderful woman, uh, lovely family, son with some learning challenges. I thought, if you call that, but you know, he could chat away with you, no dramas. And a lovely looking daughter who was turned out really nice, and I think about the time we left, I think she was going out seriously with a nice young lad. I didn't really know him; it was their business, but it was all good. They was just a lovely family. People across the road, Tony and Lynn, Chris and Lynn, Irish Lynn, and she'd had a tough time, that girl. And Tony was bloody hell, put me she could get around with a fucking nunnery. That bloke, he was very very hot tempered, but funny. He was a nice bloke. But the neighbour next door, moved in, TA guy, officer, TA, same regiment as I was in, or same unit, sorry, not the same unit, the same corps, the Royal Engineers. I don't know what he did. I think he might have been a surveyor or something technical. I was a combat engineer, which just means you're like you support and go wherever the infantry or whatever go. along with other artillery or support people when you blow up bridges or build them or clear minefields or lay them or give them water supplies or do reserve demolition when they've got to run away quickly. So you blow it up after they've run away quickly, so they can't have people running after them. So it wasn't, it wasn't high level, sneaky beaky stuff. I did do commando training. So the police, I have a criminal record, largely because of the manipulation of my character, my weakness, my failure to spot what was happening, my inability in a lot of cases, or my inability to deal with things in the way that would be acceptable today. But having said that, that's changed from sorting things out in, if you like, the old-fashioned working class way. And that's not something you choose because you're always going to come out, but the same as travellers do today. They if they really want to sort some out between two of them, they got the chance to either admit they've been a dick or put their hands up and have a fight about it. If whether you judge it or not, it seems to be a reasonably good way of drawing a line under something. But the police were copied on a lot of emails, some of them very unhinged, some drunk, and then some at times very conciliatory. What about this? Can you not try this? I just want this. So they had intel plenty about the fact that my issue was the fact that I can't deal with all my other issues in this. Can I just show you? So I'm not showing off. I'm only a working class scumbag, and I'm not clever, and I'm not intelligent, Brian. I know I'm not. I meant in comparison to people, not Brian, my neighbour, Brian, my brother, to people who are happy to believe a narrative that suits the people who were front and centre of the death of a number of people who had no fucking involvement at all other than waiting tables. And if you're happy to fucking keep saluting a flag and commemorate those people and our mother appropriately, then I can't accommodate that, Brian. And in all the insults I may or may not have ever fired at you, I have never approached anything like some of the things you have done or potentially done to me. Nowhere near it. So please don't sit in judgment of me. The police, let's be realistic about what happens today. The police are not there to protect you or to protect your property. They will only attend to give you an insurance number or crime number, whatever, if you need to claim your insurance, if you can. Police don't catch criminals anymore. What they are now, and I've got friends in the police. I had friends in the police. I know a lot of policemen, even now. The ones that I've met out and about or who have come to my home, the jury's out on them. To say I don't trust them. The ones at Middlemore Police Station, as I've alluded to before, I mean, obviously they just want a quiet life. I get that, but I've met some really interesting people, and I've met some astonishingly kind. And I could have been fooled, but I don't think there was any reason for them to be kind. They held the cards. I was in a grey sweatsuit, fucking wondering what the fuck had happened to my life, either coming off drink or I don't know, or just my mind has been vacated for the last 3 years. I don't even remember much of the past 3 years, even despite the fact that I was drunk probably about 10%, 5 to 10% of the time. But those 5 to 10% of grown legs. So if let's assume that everything that's been levelled against me. So wife beater, lifelong drunk, solves every issue by just sailing in fist first, because I've left a trail of broken noses and split lips and bruises. Oh, the photographs you should see. I'm being ironic. There isn't any. There are loads of threats. And yes, when I was younger, I did get in first, because when you're the size I am, and increasingly that size is a bit of an issue now. I'm only 5'9". That was kind of a bit normal years ago when I was falling out with people around my age. 17 years old, and had a broken bottle to bread knife fight in a street in Reading with a guy who was 24 years old and very mentally ill at the time. That is quite a frightening experience, and I didn't bottle it, but only because I was shitting myself so much. And it's amazing what a motivation fear can be. And I don't like feeling like that. I don't want to feel like that again. So if I do think something like that has even the potential to materialise, I go into that mode where I'm in fear. So I've been living in fear here now for 6 years. The irony of it all is that if things had not been as confusing and baffling as they've been for me for the last 6, 7 years, I would never have touched this house, even without my partner at the time, even without and, and even without what's unfolded or what has been imposed on this community in order to denigrate the community. An elderly community being left to fend for itself against an absolute magnet for antisocial behaviour, and loads of nice people, loads of brilliant skateboarders, interesting people, kids and their parents, loads of them. It's brilliant, but it also attracts people with problems, people with issues, people who are angry, people who are scared, people who don't want to go home. And they are society's problems. They are not the problems of these people that live here. And perhaps a quest for more building land to sanitise and, make sure there's none of this accessible for people of limited means, which I am now of limited means because I don't have any means, which means they're limited. Means, I would guess in this case, means money and ability to go on holiday. I've been on holiday for 7 years, 8 years maybe. Went to Dublin for a week, I think, a few days, see some friends. Where else? Been up to Birmingham, been up to Swindon, and down to Falmouth. Sorry, not Falmouth. Bloody hell! Oh, just outside Newquay on a several-week job, which was a bit of a holiday. Really, the job was good. It was straightforward. It was cantankerous and financially skullduggery strewed. And the blokes were made to suffer, and I objected to that because the financial issues were not their problem. They shouldn't keep getting kicked in the bollocks, metaphorically speaking, because of the jiggery pokey going on above their heads. But that reminds me of something else, or other ways that we live. So the police are not all bad. We know that. However, like any organisation, they have good and bad amongst them. So the army does. Construction workers are good and bad. People who work at stewards at pop concerts are good and bad. There's some idiots, some deviants, some who shouldn't be anywhere near the public, and that goes for all walks of life. Okay, security guards, people who, I don't know, stack shelves in Tesco's. Some of them probably aren't suited to it. The police aren't all idiots and they're not all bad. They have the same things going on as we do. By we, I mean ordinary people that are not police officers or police, staff. So they have statistics to fulfil. They have to justify their existence in a world that's changing, even in a way that they can't keep up with. The rank and file police are probably just ordinary people like us. They come from ordinary families. A lot of them come from police families, as a lot of soldiers come from military families, carrying on a tradition. And I would guess that the vast majority go in there thinking it'll be a secure job, it'll give me a pension, it'll give me a little bit of respect, which everybody wants a bit of respect. Or it may be a continuation of a job they've had in the military or some other very orderly job where not know what you're doing. Your career is mapped out to an extent, and who can blame anybody for wanting to do that? Although, and that is becoming harder now because jobs now, there's no factory jobs, mining jobs, shipbuilding jobs, heavy industry jobs that are jobs for life now, or family jobs that your granddad did and your uncle and your brother and whatever. It's all gone. It used to be in the northeast and Cardiff and Liverpool and the docks and Glasgow, the shipbuilding. It's all gone. So we're now working light industry. That doesn't mean making light bulbs. It means electronics and technology and stuff, or stacking shelves and picking orders for Amazon, which is what probably the majority will be doing in a few years. Excuse me. Apparently, I'm at war with the police. So let me get to the. This is the elephant in the room. First of all, it is likely that I will be going to prison again because the police have unofficially, unbelievably gone to see somebody who's not involved at all with any outstanding criminal charges against me. But she's attended interviews with me because she's not only, well, I suppose you call her to an extent a business partner now, but she's been a support. She was one of the two people, they happened to be female, that came alongside me when I was, when the referee was standing over me and he got to about 7.5 and just, he had a tickle in his throat, stalled, and I met these two people. I was done. I was finished. That is a very hard thing to admit, particularly when you're doing it from the same side of life that you didn't expect. I don't know. It was untenable. It was just, I just thought, what is the point? Now, if I'm all the things that I've been labelled as, then of course anybody watching this of a decent mind or objective mind would think I deserve it. You're entitled. Anybody's background, regardless of how difficult or challenging or unbeneficial to their development, does not have a right, really, unless it's fucking horrific. And there are people, and I've met them, who you think, fuck, how did you get over that? Jesus Christ. And I mean things that happen to them personally, of a deviant nature. I mean, I don't know how you would recover from that. I did not experience that to any horrific degree. I didn't experience it same sex, which I'm guessing is for a man or a boy is traumatic, unless they're that way inclined. And if they're not, if it's not with consent, I would guess that's pretty not good. And likewise, I've always, for a woman to be forced, is I don't know, it's an invasion on so many levels, isn't it? And it's wrong. Now, anybody who keeps abreast of things will know that there are things coming out in various quarters. I'm not your typical, or what else might be called, maybe a conspiracy theorist. I was raised not really believing much about authority because authority hadn't done me a lot of favours as a little kiddie and growing up, and I've been at odds with them. And the help I did get, I had to doff my cap. I had to doff my cap and be all thank you, sir. Hang on a minute, it's a conversation because you fucking failed to protect my mum from the skullduggery that others in your position fucking have done for years that we had no involvement with. Kind of shit. I've got no complaints about my life. It happened because the way it did, because it did, and I took my part in it, and I did the best I could when I could, with the information I had at the time when I was of a certain age. And if other people around me didn't understand that, I was trying to survive the same as you were, and I was making it up as I went along, the same as you were. And I had varying degrees of success, the same as you did. But the one thing I did was that I miraculously excelled for sometimes on some projects as a site management person, whether it was a project manager or a logistics manager or a recruiting geezer or whatever. I was adaptable, but not fucking the best in the world at everything. But I ended up doing a lot of everything and doing it reasonably competently, but not as well as some of the people around me that had been doing this man and boy, this being whatever role I was doing. And again, when I did aspects of security work, I didn't do close protection. Or I did. No, I didn't. I did a house sitting for very important people, but once, only as a stand-in. I'm not a big bloke. I'm not, bouncers are supposed to be big lads because your first port of call is deterrence. I'm not going to fucking hit him or be a twat in front of him because he's going to rip my head off because he's massive. And then no violence. But if you're my size, 5'9", then people are not might think, well, he's only so you've got to be a bit thingy, and it's not. Well, I'd like to think it was never small man syndrome in my case because as people will know that worked with and against me when I was doing the merchandise security and the cash in transit security at pop gigs. First thing I did when I took over, because my predecessor was a little bit overzealous in his dealings with these people who were trying to earn a living, I immediately struck a deal with them. Not in a way, what's the word? Fucking hell, corrupt. All I said to him, right, you're selling your gear, you're selling it when the crowd go in past the stalls who pay us to stop you selling t-shirts. Don't do it. Don't, because it makes us look like mugs. In return, you will give us some of your gear so we can demonstrate we've been chasing you about. Plus, you will not sell within eyesight of the stall that's inside or at the stadium or in the big arena or whatever. So they will be getting their t-shirts sold, because if you're not selling them on the in, then people will know that, or they'll get used to the people that know that you'll be hanging about somewhere on the out. And some people don't want to pay top dollar for the official merchandise. Understandably, we're on different budgets. Some people just want some remembrance of going to a gig, and a £10 sweatshirt will do that, as well as a £30 or £40 sweatshirt. So no one's getting killed and everyone's getting what they want. So I did this with the different poster sellers, shirt sellers, t-shirt, flags, fucking flashing noses. There was everything being sold. And just said, look, we'll keep to that deal. You can sell what you want on the out round the corner, because the people will know that they've gone past the official merchandise and they're on the way home anyway. So they won't be part with any money with the official merchandisers. So if they do spend half the money round the corner with you, or these guys, they were all guys, no one's got hurt. No one's got their nose out of joint. We did that. And then at the end of the crowded house gig around Plymouth, Bristol, Oxford and Cardiff, I think it was. Was it Cardiff? I can't remember. No, Newport. That was Black Crows. I went to a Black Crows concert, I think it was, or did a Black Crows concert, and had a big boot full of crowded house gear, and it was really good quality stuff. And all the guys had their stuff, and all their wives and girlfriends had all had it. We had tons of it because there was a big gig, and the crowded house was very big at the time, and a really good set of lads. They were really nice lads. But I had a boot full of these brand new hooky t-shirts and sweatshirts. We all had them. I was going to throw them, so I met up with one of the guys who sold them, or the guy whose guys sold the shirts at the gigs and gave them the t-shirts to sell up north. Now, the Northerners would probably enjoy doing things the other way, but it made no difference where they got the shirts from, really, did it? I don't think. I wasn't encouraging them, and they might have gone up north and said to one of the Scousers, good luck with that. Jesus Christ. Wow. I know I'm not hard. I've met some hard guys. The big bouncer lads from London, all about 6'4", 6'5", kickboxers, this boxer, this fucking MMA thing. I mean, Jesus, monsters. I'll fight if I have to. But I hate it. Is the truth. I'd rather sit and read a book and spend time like this. Roxy, and see my dog, who's usually pestering me. Where are you? Oh, I'll go and find her, walk around the garden. So the police have got to fulfil statistics, okay? They're as much at the mercy of records and targets and this, that and the other as a sales organisation or a football team or whatever. And the way they're increasingly doing that is basically honing on people that have fallen through the net, have had a bit of bad luck, who've fucked up, got drunk or had a domestic situation, male and female. You pay a price now for this. Not that you haven't already. Right, so I'm going to not ramble. I don't think I've covered anything. Oh, yeah. Sorry, message on the phone. So I had a bombshell from my wonderful and very, very considerate and caring and very honest ex-wife, or from a solicitor. She subsequently denied that. Oh no, I don't remember. They never showed me that. Well, they probably would have done. But it basically said you're dead. Well, it didn't. It said, you're going to lose your house. You can't sell your house. You can't rent your house. You can't do this with your house. The houses, everywhere we've lived has always been in my name, I think. Or everywhere apart from the first year. And certainly houses that were owned were always owned by me, which I bought whenever we split up, which was every other weekend except on a Thursday if the wind was blowing from the southeast. We just split up all the time, normally because we were just fucking toxic, and once the allure of the physical side of things and the dressing up and makeup and short skirts and stockings, and she used to dress up now and again as well. That was a joke, not a good one. Once that wore off, we just fucking hated each other, I suppose. And she had a lot of reasons to hate me. I was horrible. I didn't beat her up though. Well, so yeah, I got this letter, and everything had come to light in my warped mind. I wasn't drinking then either. But fucking hell, what was unfolding, and I hadn't even uncovered or come to my deluded conclusions about the full extent of it, involving the people closest to me, my partner then, my ex-wife, and the brother that I had the most to do with at that time, because he was apparently going through a big crisis where he was constantly threatening me with his desire that he was just about to take his own life. I'd never done that before, despite us sharing the same sort of background, apart from him going to the Paras and me going to the Marines and the Royal Engineers, and him going to the Paras and then doing close security and whatever. He looks like me, or did. And he was a mentor of mine, not knowingly. David was the brother I was closest to, but he was too emotional to be a mentor. Carl was cold, horrible, selfish, out for number one. I thought, I've got to be like that. And Brian was just fucking doing his best as a very, very young adult who's had a pretty shit upbringing himself. So it wasn't great. So we all had our own shit to deal with, big shit sandwiches. Like you lot. A lot of you have had it. I know people, it's not just me. But then we had it rubbed in our faces for 12 years with the bloody Sunday inquiry, which never mentioned the loss of Jill, Mary Grant, John Hasler, Jerry Weston, Sherry Munson, Thelma Bosley. Never mentioned. No apology. No sorry. No government. We're sorry for failing to protect them. No other side, whoever that is, could have been, was supposed to have been, might not have been. Probably wasn't. Probably was someone else, and them, and someone else as well. Because there's a thing in politics and conflict called, fucking hell, what's it called? Skullduggery. Because you tell you one thing, this is what we want you to think happened, when really behind the scenes, don't tell her this happened, and it was really Alan and Ted, not fucking Bob and Terry. And Fiona had nothing to do with it, and yet you thought that she and Sharon worked for. It's all a bit woo, a bit Columbo, a bit Monk. Hey, the world's a strange place. So look, I'm not a criminal by design. I'm not an arch criminal. I haven't been a member of a gang, been involved in drugs, even got involved in corruption in construction, or construction corruption. Had the chance a few times, didn't want it. As I said before in one of my other diaries, which are not public, is why when you're working at the very top, and I'm not being modest, it's the truth. Anyone who's worked with me knows that. I was an idiot. When you're working at the top of your alleged ability, why, and you're earning good money, and you're seeing places you wouldn't have seen. Well, why would you sully that by I got in rows and I walked away from jobs because it was just untenable, not with the means being within my powers. If you don't get the backup of your company when you're working for somebody who's manipulating things and winding your people up, or you up, or putting them at risk, you got to make a stand. That's your job, surely. Site manager, site. You manage the site, or the site that for which you're responsible. The men, usually that means, or the women. I was standing up, and so was Paul English. We were standing up for our community. We were standing up individually because we didn't know each other. Because I was new. I'd only been here about 6 months before this started to unfold as the deviant orchestration of misinformation and unrevealing of facts, the most prominent facts, and despite pointing that out, saying you got to tell them what it, anyway, I won't go into the technical details, but it's all black and white, and yet they've just, luck and providence from their point of view, got rid of Paul English. Paul English also made the mistake of being very masculine in his approach to his family, insofar as if it doesn't directly, day to day, affect them all, i.e. his family miles away, he's not going to tell them. If it only affects his wife, who he does everything for, and cooks, admin, does everything, fixes the computer up, sorts that out, plugs the DVD thing in and wires it all up and puts a light bulb over there and one over there, even though it's not needed. She just was a woman and went to church and did flower arranging and helped voluntary things and got involved with the Christmas raffle and lunch club and did that stuff. They did old people stuff. That's it. So the only thing she would have known about in all this was him going around to the not the skate park, the actual facility, the arena park, to negotiate with joyriders at silly o'clock at night, 11, 12, whatever, to ask them to leave and stop skidding around. Is it their fault? Really, not if the place is left open and they've got testosterone to burn off. I was never a joyrider or skiddy kind of drivery sort of, wasn't petrol head thing, wasn't my stuff. But you can't blame them, but if you leave it unlocked, what do you think is going to happen? And then you can lock it for COVID, which was a year or so or something, I can't remember. The actual lockdown, can't go out, you've got to wear this on your head, and you can only walk down the left hand side of the road unless there's a parrot flying over, and then you can tell on your friends who've had a barbecue with more than 8 people on a Tuesday, I think. But anyway, they locked it up then with one bicycle chain around the gates to the car park, and you couldn't go out anyway. Yet so the police might say, where are you going? Are you visiting somebody? Are you doing this? But they locked the thing up. And yet hundreds of people, potentially, if not more, I don't know, on a clear night, well, there's no other noise, and you go, I can do animal farmyard noises. I can do a 1920s steam locomotion on the London North Eastern Railway line. I can't really, I just said that because I hoped it would be funny. But you get my drift, drift, no pun intended, drift. Kids do that thing where they skid the car in a direction and, right. It makes no sense, the whole thing. And initially, all I was saying, why are you doing that? Well, the noise bothers me particularly, or the clankety bang gang clang, and I've covered that in other videos. And it's my get out of jail free card because I've not been punished for anything I've done. I've only gone to prison, lost 200 grand, I think, I would say, somewhere in the order. A camper van, my mental health, my mental faculties, my ability to comprehend and evaluate. Just because I wanted to be able to enjoy this like I can now. But the thing is, I can do it now because I know if I'm good, if I hear clank bang, and there ain't been a lot of it. I think it's been too hot. I don't know. There was a bit the other night, but it doesn't freak me because I know why. I get it now. But that still doesn't negate the fact that whether the people that were responsible for this chose to lie to people who were voting on it and mislead them. That's a fact. That's from the horse's mouth. The other witness is dead. How convenient. But my cards are marked anyway, so the book will come out and everything's in there in black and white. I don't get it. Where are these people going to hide? Where are they going to hide? Oh, by the way, sorry, before I go, oh, for goodness sake, Gary Waterman, YouTube, Gary Waterman, I think Met and Dorset police of 18 years, practicing Christian or committed Christian or whatever you want to call it. And yes, he's a policeman. And again, I reiterate, I don't have anything against anybody because they're a policeman, but just some of the ones I've met here and some of the conduct they've exercised has been pretty shocking. But he's basically, you need to watch a couple of his videos. I would suggest a bit sharpish. I have mentioned Neil Oliver of GB News. I don't necessarily agree with all on GB News. Not that it's anybody's asking me, but Neil Oliver's pretty much on the money, and Richard Vobes. And all of these people have significantly more credibility than I do, but I would strongly urge you to just get a different version of what might be happening in the world, because it's pretty serious. And do you know what? It's pretty serious for the police as well, long term, and it's pretty serious for the judiciary system, and a lot more people than would like to believe, because this is all being done by quite a small number of people in the great scheme of things, who don't like the fact that they're telling us there's quite a lot of people, and they don't want quite a lot of people. They want to get rid of us. Anyway, whoever you believe in, whether it's the Oompa Loompas, Bob and Ted, the great holy big thing that shines on a mountain, or God, or Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, or Judea, or Rastafari, may your God be with you, as Dave Allen would say. Much love. At the end of the day, that's what will conquer everything. At the end of the day, love. I know I don't look like a proponent of that belief, but I know the difference in engaging people in a mutually pleasant way than a mutually unpleasant way, and it's much nicer, in my humble. God bless you. Thank you. Bye.